Welcome back from the break. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX World. Let's take a look at some of the top stories this hour. Pakistan's ambassador to Russia has said his country will use its full spectrum of power if it is attacked by India. Meanwhile, the Indian Air Chief Marshal has met with Prime Minister Narendra Modi as tensions increase following the Pahalgam terror attack. Russian President Vladimir Putin says he hopes there is no need to use nuclear weapons in Ukraine as drone strikes are reported by both Russia and Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukrainian President Zelensky says he will not play Putin's games with a short ceasefire. Chinese President Xi Jinping will make an official visit to Russia from the 7th to the 10th of May, according to the Kremlin. Xi will take part in the 80th anniversary of World War II celebrations, which is when Putin has proposed a ceasefire with Ukraine. Israel's military has issued tens of thousands of call-up notices to reservists to support a potential expanded offensive in Gaza. It comes as a dispute between Qatar and Israel continues over Gaza ceasefire negotiations. The Yemen Houthi rebels have claimed responsibility for a missile that hit near Israel's Ben Gurion airport in Tel Aviv. The attack got through Israel's air defense system and temporarily halted air traffic at the country's busiest airport. Taiwan Ministry of Defense has detected 8 sorties of Chinese aircrafts and 7 naval vessels near its territory. 6 aircrafts crossed the median line of the Taiwan Strait as tensions between the self-governed island and China continue. Following his landslide federal election victory in Australia, Labour Party leader Anthony Albanese says that he will prioritise dealing with the US-China trade war. Albanese says he will run a disciplined and orderly government. Japan and China have accused each other of airspace violations around the Japanese-controlled island of Senkaku. This dispute comes amidst apparent strengthening of ties amongst the ongoing tariff disputes with the US. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is vowing a sustained response to Yemen's Houthi rebels following a massive missile strike near Israel's main airport. In a video posted on Telegram, Netanyahu has said Israel has acted against the Iran-backed group in the past and will continue doing so. These are breaking updates coming in this hour. In fact, Benjamin Netanyahu has also promised not only a single strike, but what he called many bangs. He also noted the United States is acting in coordination with Israel. This comes amidst heightened regional tensions and ongoing threats from the Houthis. But here's what the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu had said in this video.
אנחנו פועלים נגדם. פעלנו בעבר, נפעל גם בעתיד, אני לא יכול לפרט את כל הדברים. ארצות הברית גם בתיאום איתנו פועלת גם נגדם. זה לא זבנג וגמרנו, אבל יהיו זבנג.
Tensions between Israel and Qatar have surged over the weekend after the Israeli Prime Minister's office accused Doha of playing both sides in mediation efforts with Hamas. Israel demanded that Qatar can decide if it's on the side of civilization or Hamas. Qatar swiftly rejected the remarks as inflammatory, defending its role in hostage negotiations and criticizing Israel's blockade and military strategy in Gaza. Despite mediation by Qatar and Egypt, ceasefire talks remain deadlocked. Israel demands that Hamas disarm and play no future role in Gaza's governance, while Hamas insists on a permanent ceasefire and Israeli troop withdrawal as preconditions for releasing the remaining 59 hostages. Qatar's Foreign Ministry spokesperson Majid al-Ansari called Israel's framing of the war a false narrative, accusing it of using aid as a tool of coercion. On Friday, Israel's cabinet reportedly approved plans to expand its military campaign in Gaza, where over 50,000 Palestinians have been killed and humanitarian conditions continue to deteriorate. Ali M. Abushbak, independent Palestinian researcher, is joining us live from Cairo. Thank you for speaking with us, Ali. What has caused these latest talks to derail, in your opinion?
Well, thank you for having me. I guess that the time of the fighting between Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and foreign spokesperson of Qatar. It's a crucial, especially we are waiting for the visit of the American President Donald Trump, and he's going to visit Saudi Arabia and Emirat, and he was going to join and participate in the Arab Summit in coming month. So the things is, and also during the first time of his officing, when he housing his office, Donald Trump, he emphasized that Qatar is going to normalize the relation with Israel as a part of his plan for the peace in the region. So the crucial time, as well as during this serious moment for negotiation and delaying of reaching to the ceasefire in Gaza. I guess there is a several of signs for these things, especially also yesterday, the day before yesterday, Qatar criticized the Israeli attack in Syria and the Israeli bombardment in Damascus. So the thing is, the tension is going to high despite the tight relation between Qatar and Israel. It was a good, especially Qatar. It was the one of the first Arab country has established a trade tied with Israel in 1996, and as well as mediating the conflict between Israel and Hamas, especially in 2019 during the Great March of Return protest. So also Qatar used to fund Hamas during the 2018 for the calm in the area under the administration of Benjamin Netanyahu. Now we are witnessing the claims between and throwing the accusation among Benjamin Netanyahu and Qatar, especially after the scandal of Benjamin Netanyahu's Qatar Gate, which two of the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu assistants, they are under investigation that taking money from Qatar for during the Qatar's the World Club. For posting the image of Qatar on the media. So the thing is nowadays it's a bit difficult, and there is a significant question: is that going to delay the process of negotiation and delaying the process of reaching deal in Gaza? Especially Qatar is the one of the mediator between Hamas and Israel. And also Egypt. And America. The significant question is this going to impact the process, especially after the Israeli cabinet approved that the new plan to extend the military operation in Gaza to pressurize Hamas. Qatar mediated the deal between Hamas and Israel in November 2023 and January 2025.
Well, let's just tell our viewers a bit more about this proposal now between, of course, Israel and Hamas. Qatar and Egypt have proposed a three-phase ceasefire plan. Initially, hostage and prisoner swap has been prioritized. Then a gradual Israeli troop withdrawal from Gaza will be focused on. Humanitarian aid flow to Gaza will increase steadily. And then later negotiations towards permanent ceasefire will take place. Now, these are, of course, some of the broad parameters, Ali, of that ceasefire that has been proposed by, Qatar and Egypt. What is then the roadblock for this ceasefire plan?
The things is sometime Benjamin Netanyahu is playing political against the ceasefire deal with Hamas, and as well as according to Egypt, analyzing a newspaper and reported that Qatar used Hamas to reject the proposal, especially that proposed by Egypt. Here is the significant things is that who's trying to playing the gate watch or the dog watch in the area. There is a competition between Egypt and Qatar, especially so Qatar using Hamas as to pressurize that to be as a significant mediator in the area. So on the ground, Palestinians do accept any deal to end the war between Hamas and Israel, and in the same time, Benjamin Netanyahu, he want insurance that or guarantee that Hamas is not going to rearm or to rebuild the army capacity, so that he's asking to disarm Hamas and excluded the Hamas from any part of governance from Gaza or ruling Gaza. So the significant things, I guess, the last proposal, it was a bit acceptable from everyone, but both of sides, Hamas, they didn't released any comment about this proposal, which proposed by Egypt. And last 2 weeks, the Prime Minister, the President of Egypt, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, he went to visit Qatar, and he met that he met the King of Qatar, and to addressing Hamad bin
Yes.
addressing that.
But amidst all of this, of course, now the latest attack in Israel, allegedly by the Houthis, will that now complicate the situation further?
I guess the Houthi from the day one of Israel resumed the war in the middle of March. He also resumed the fire against Israel. So in my opinion, and also there is America hitting that Houthi side, and also nowadays UK is going to align with America, especially after they couldn't able to they couldn't able to make Houthi stop from the attacking of Israel. In my opinion, these things, it will not pressurize Benjamin Netanyahu, because it has a limitation of affecting on the ground in Israel. First, secondary, also we have witnessed that Hezbollah tried to involve during the war during the war in Gaza, but also at the same time isolated themselves after the big hit and killing the significant killing the supreme leader of Hezbollah, Hassan Nasrallah. So the things is, in my opinion, it's not going to escalate the situation in Gaza, especially people are starving and killing from the starvation and dying because of the Israeli blockade in Gaza. So Hamas is not going to, as well as to pressurized by the Israelis action on the ground. And in my opinion, there is no solution between Hamas and Israel except the talk and except negotiation as a significant part to reach to ceasefire between Hamas and Israel.
Ali Abu Shbak, thank you very much for joining us with your perspective on that story. Moving on now, the civil war in Sudan has taken a dangerous turn. Sudan's army has said the paramilitary Rapid Support Forces, or RSF, have launched their first attack on Port Sudan, the seat of the army-backed government. According to the army, suicide drones hit the Osman Digna military airbase, a warehouse and civilian areas, but no casualties were reported. Flights in and out of Port Sudan have been suspended. The strike marks a major shift as Port Sudan has remained untouched since the war began in April 2023. Additionally, the RSF struck Kassala airport near the Eritrean border, hitting the fuel shortage area. A pro-army source confirmed that there were no casualties or damage. The RSF, which recently lost ground in Khartoum, has been ramping up drone attacks far beyond its usual territory. In a separate development, the Sudanese Foreign Ministry has accused the RSF of killing 300 civilians in Al Nahoud in the West Kordofan state. The ministry called it a massacre carried out on ethnic grounds and urged the UN Security Council to act. The RSF says it has taken control of Al Nahoud and a nearby army brigade headquarters. According to estimates, the civil war in Sudan has now killed over 130,000 people and forced more than 15 million to flee their homes, making it one of the worst humanitarian crises in the world. Chinese President Xi Jinping will make an official visit to Moscow from the 7th to the 10th of May after the invitation of Russian President Vladimir Putin. The visit comes as Russia marks the 80th anniversary of the Soviet Union's victory in World War II, which Xi is set to participate in the Victory Day celebrations on the 9th of May. During his visit, Xi will engage in high-level talks with Putin, focusing on the further development of their comprehensive partnership and strategic interaction. The two leaders are expected to discuss key international and regional issues, as well as sign several bilateral agreements. This marks Xi's third visit to Russia since the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, underscoring the strengthening relationship between Moscow and Beijing. Despite China's stated neutral position on the conflict, it has aligned itself with Russia in many aspects, particularly in countering Western influence and sanctions. China's support has been crucial for Russia, especially in terms of trade and military supplies, as Russia increasingly turns to China to bypass Western sanctions. This visit also highlights the personal ties between Xi and Putin, which have significantly bolstered the strategic partnership between their nations. Dr. Satoru Nagao, Fellow Hudson Institute, is joining us live from Tokyo, Japan. Dr. Nagao, what is to be expected on this visit by Xi Jinping to Russia?
For Xi Jinping, there are two benefits he can expect, and two concern also. So firstly, of course, Russia rely on China. That's why if Xi Jinping visits Russia, Xi Jinping can continue such kind of situation as a friendship gesture. So that's why this visit is beneficial. Secondly, if Xi Jinping cooperates with Russia and Russia continues war in Ukraine, in this case, America need to deal with Russian threat in Ukraine, so that's why they use resources in Ukraine. So that's why the same resources the United States cannot use against China. So that's why maintaining the current situation is interest for Xi Jinping. In this case, Xi Jinping need to show the attitude to support Russia. These are two chances, but two concern is different. Two concern is if China shows strong support to Russia, there's a possibility China will be the target of the U.S. sanctions. So that's why China want to show the friendly attitude toward Russia. At the same time, China need to take distance to join the war in Ukraine. So that's why a little careful manner is needed. So China supports Russia, but China is not main actor in Ukraine. And second concern for China is recently to seek the ceasefire America contact with Russia. So Xi Jinping need to show the strong presence in Russia because if the America-Russia cooperation progress and Russia start to negotiate with United States directly and cooperate with United States directly, in this case, China cannot control the situation themselves, so that's why this is a concern. So China need to show the strong presence in Moscow and show the Russian people they are good friends and you do not need to cooperate with the United States. But such kind of attitude is needed. So that's why the two benefit and two concern. This is China's interest, I think.
Right, Dr. Nagao, also, of course, as far as the bilateral is concerned, what do you believe are going to be those key items on the agenda? Which aspects of the China-Russian relationship are expected to be strengthened in those talks?
Firstly, assure the China support to Russia is the purpose, I think. Because currently Russia is negotiating with the United States about the ceasefire. This means that there is a possibility Putin is thinking what kind of choice is beneficial for him. If the ceasefire has happened and it is beneficial for Russia, then of course Putin will seek the ceasefire. Of course, Russia is advancing in the battlefield. That's why the big benefit is needed if he accepts the ceasefire. But at the same time, the United States try to persuade Russia under current situation. That's why China need to assure Russia that you can continue the war in Ukraine. In this case, even if the U.S. suggestion is relatively good, view from Putin, keeping the war and getting more in the battlefield. So maintaining war itself is interest for Russia more. So that's why China's assurance to Russia is one of the purpose of the negotiations. So what kind of the support China can do for Russia, that is the matter, I think.
Right. Also, Dr. Nagao, of course, as far as this visit is concerned, it marks, of course, the 80th anniversary of World War II celebrations, Victory Day celebrations. There's going to be a parade as well. What is Russia trying to show through making a big celebration of this day?
Of course, Russia want to show they are the country who win the war, and they will win the war in the Ukraine, and such kind of image they want to create. And Russia is not isolated because of the Chinese leaders' presence, North Korea's leaders' presence, or other countries, Serbia or Slovakia. In this case, their leader is join this celebration, and this kind of diplomatic presence will make Russia more bold in this war, because Russian people are concerning, they are isolated, but
Yes.
Putin need to show
How will the
this is not
US
true.
be viewing this visit by the Chinese premier to Russia?
Of course, this is not comfortable, because when the Russia and the United States relation was good, that parade was a parade, American troops were marching. So that's why now there is no American presence. So that's why this parade indicates that Russia is not a friend of the United States, and Russia is a threat against the United States. So parade including the China, the North Korea, this looks like excess of evil for the United States. So that is not comfortable for the United States. But at the same time, if the Russia, China, North Korea show their cooperation against the United States, and if they overemphasize this alliance, of course, view from the United States, now is the time to fight. Okay, your attitude is like that. Something, such kind of mood will rise. So that's why, indeed, such kind of provocation itself is not good for Russia or China or North Korea too, I think.
All right, Dr. Satoru Nagao, thank you very much for joining us with your perspective on that story. On that note, we are slipping into a short break. That's all we have time for on this edition of World Report.